What happens if you go without food for 3 days? Look, this is gonna shock you, but I'm gonna show you a timeline of exactly what happens inside of your body when you go 3 days without food. Gotta say, your doctor will never tell you this. You're gonna be seeing here an animation of exactly what's happening inside of your body during the 3 days. Let's start with the first 14 hours. And by the way, stick around because once we get to that 3-day mark, you will not believe what happens at the 72-hour mark of a fast. It's absolutely shocking and unbelievable. And at the end of the video, I'll address what to consume during the fast, which liquids, supplements, who should not do this fast, how to work your way to this fast, and how to break this fast. Now let's jump into the timeline. As you can see here, the first 14 hours of this fast, you're gonna notice two amazing things happen. The first thing is that you're gonna lower the hormone insulin, which means you're gonna look lighter, feel lighter, you're gonna have more energy levels. It's important to understand this. If you wanna burn fat, and I'm talking about that stubborn belly fat, we need to lower the hormone insulin. Insulin is the key that unlocks fat burning. And when you are 14 hours into a fast, every hour now, you're going to lower that hormone insulin where you start tapping into stored body fat and shedding excess body weight so you look less bloated and feel less bloated as well. As insulin begins to fall, your body's going to start tapping into your sugar reserve system. This is called your glycogen stores, and it's simply a mechanism to store calories in your liver and muscle cells. So 10 hours in, 12 hours in, 14 hours in, you start to deplete these sugar reserves, and that's really important if you're looking to melt fat. At the 14-hour mark, those sugar reserves are going to be very low, which then switches the metabolism to burn stored fat. Think of your sugar reserves as your refrigerator. Easy access, you put groceries in, take groceries out, but the goal is to get to your fat stores, which is going to be the freezers inside of your basement. In order to get to the freezers inside of your basement, which is your body fat, you need to go through your refrigerator, your sugar reserves. At the 14-hour mark, you deplete that. There's a second thing happening here at the 14-hour mark. You complete digestion. This is key because you're going to notice a huge increase in your energy levels and focus. That is because it takes a lot of energy for your body to process a meal, to digest food. And it takes about 14 hours to complete that digestion. So now you have a process, this is one of my favorite benefits to fasting, called energy diversion. You now divert energy away from digestion at this 14-hour mark because you're completing digestion, and that energy is being diverted to healing the body. Blood flow back to the brain, pulling fat from your liver, pulling fat from your body fat. This is happening around the 14-hour mark, and it's pretty remarkable. Now, as fat burning starts to kick in, let's get into what happens around the 16 to 17-hour mark of this 3-day fast. At this point in the fast, your metabolism turns on a process called autophagy. This is one of the coolest things that happens inside of your body. Autophagy is this cellular cleanup process. You see, you have cells in your body that are not working well right now. They're toxic. They're not burning fat very efficiently. They actually could lead to cancerous cells and autoimmune cells. Autophagy is that process of cleaning out the junk. Think of it this way. Let's say you work full-time, a 9-to-5 job. You barely have much free time on your hands. And your house is starting to become dirty. Your garage is starting to fill up with all this trash, collecting dust. You just don't have the time to clean it out. But let's say your boss gives you 2 weeks off vacation, full pay. Now you have all this time in your hands. What are you gonna do? You're gonna start cleaning up the house, going into the garage, throwing out the junk. This is exactly what your metabolism does, this innate intelligence within your body during a fast. You're not using all of your energy and time for digestion. You're now using it to throw out the trash, clean out the junk. So you literally have a process called autophagy, which is eat thyself. It's like Pac-Man seeking out these damaged cells, mitochondria, these little energy battery packs within your cells, cleaning out the junk, repairing it so you could burn fat more efficiently, lower inflammation, and prevent serious diseases in the future. So this prevents diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. It repairs your mitochondria, so it helps these little energy battery packs produce more energy. And guess what? All of this is getting ramped up during 16 to 17 hours of this 3-day fast. Autophagy is the ultimate anti-aging biohack. And the longer you go into this fast, every hour, the more autophagy you get. Super cool. Now let's move on to the 24-hour mark of this fast. There are two really incredible things that happen once you hit 24 hours without food. The first amazing thing that happens at the 24-hour mark is that you get an intestinal stem cell reboot. Okay, what does that mean? A lot of you watching or listening might be struggling with gas, bloating, acid reflux, GERD, digestive issues, and even more severe issues like autoimmune. Well, studies are showing at the 24-hour mark of a fast, you completely start to reset your digestive system. So you get these intestinal stem cells that are now being increased and healing your body. So you're able to digest food better when you do eat, which helps you have more energy and helps with fat loss. Now, the second amazing thing happening at the 24-hour mark is this. A surge in human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone is a powerful fat-burning hormone, anti-aging hormone. Celebrities pay thousands of dollars every month for their doctor to inject them with human growth hormone. Now, there are side effects to that and it costs a lot of money, but guess what? Studies are showing that when you hit 24 hours without food, there is a surge in human growth hormone. You can see on the screen here, this study is showing that at the 24-hour mark of a fast, there's a 2,000% increase in human growth hormone in men and a 1,300% increase in human growth hormone in women. This is the ultimate hormone to shed excess fat, and it ramps up pretty dramatically just going 24 hours without food. Now let's get into the 30-hour mark of your timeline here. Here's where things go to the next level. There's a surge in this brain fertilizer, this miracle grow for the brain called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotropic factor. All you need to know about BDNF is that the more your body is producing, the more your brain is producing, the more focused, energized, and creative you are. It's actually kind of a spiritual experience. It makes me think why every religion practices some form of fasting. It connects you with your higher self. It helps you stay focused and alert. Here's why the body's doing it, by the way. We're hardwired for the old school, meaning the metabolism, the inner physician, the innate intelligence doesn't understand that you're doing this 3-day fast because you're looking for benefits. It thinks you're going through a famine. It doesn't understand that you could go to your fridge and grab food or click on your phone and order Uber Eats or DoorDash and have somebody knock on your door in 30 minutes with food. It doesn't get that. We're hardwired for the old school. So it flips on this process called BDNF production. It's the body's way of giving you energy, focus, and creativity so you could go out there and hunt and kill in order to stay alive. Well, thankfully, we don't have to do that. We could use all that energy, all the resources to feel amazing, to crush a workout, to be there with your full personality and energy levels for your family, for your work. I'm always fasted, and I hit this BDNF fasting mark when I have my most challenging day in terms of mental bandwidth, when I speak on stages, when I'm doing podcast interviews, because it feels like a superpower. Brain fog disappears. Memory, focus, and mood improves. You actually learn things faster, and it feels like a spiritual reset. Now let's move on to the 36-hour mark of your fast. This is the ultimate fat-burning part of your 3-day fast. At this point, fat burning goes on full blast. Insulin is at rock bottom levels. You're just burning stored fat for energy. And here's what happens. This is super cool. The fat you're using for energy, meaning your stomach, your love handles, your hips, your body fat, that is being sent to your liver for energy. Your liver uses that and produces ketones. Now, you've probably heard of the keto diet. Keto is not even technically a diet. It's a metabolic process. And those ketones not only fuel the brain, it fuels your metabolism and it increases fat loss. It does this twofold. Number one, of course, the insulin effect by lowering insulin. That's how you produce ketones. Number two, those ketones, this is crazy, actually help your cells produce 400% more energy, and it lowers inflammation at the same time. With that energy increase at the 36-hour mark from ketones, it increases your basal metabolic rate, which is your metabolism's ability to burn calories just sitting on the couch without having to exercise. This is dramatically getting increased at the 36-hour mark. Many people might lose 5 to 10 pounds already at this 36-hour mark. You have more mental clarity, more energy, you feel leaner and look lighter as well. It's absolutely incredible, this magic part of the fast, 36 hours. Now we need to move on to what happens next as we shift into 48 hours, which is 2 days without food. At this point in the fast, there's a complete dopamine reset. Look, we live in a world where most people are what's called dopamine resistant. You've probably heard of insulin resistance, where your metabolism has a hard time getting insulin into the cell, so you have to produce more insulin to get the same effect. This is very similar with dopamine. Dopamine is a hormone, a neurochemical, that helps you feel happy, calm, grateful. It improves your entire life in terms of your relationships. And a lot of people are unhappy, they're bitter, they're miserable because they have dopamine resistance from all the food we eat that's processed, from scrolling on our phone, social media. By the way, scrolling on your phone and getting those dopamine hits, there's a study that shows the average person scrolls on their phone enough times with their fingers to climb the Empire State Building. No wonder why we're not happy. No wonder why we need more sugar, more drugs and stimulants, and more social media to get the same effect. Well, enter this 48-hour fast. This is absolutely incredible, but studies are showing that once you hit 48 hours without food, you reset the D2 receptor sites in your brain, the dopamine receptor sites in your brain, where you experience a natural mood boost. And now you're happier, you're more grateful, which leads to lowering inflammation. Your cravings for junk food and social media and maybe even drugs and other addictions start to decrease. People report at the 48-hour mark, I feel happier, I feel more motivated and inspired. That's because your brain isn't being hijacked by dopamine hits anymore. It's pretty remarkable. Now we need to get to the completion of the fast, the 72-hour mark, which is, you're going to be shocked what happens next. Hey, before I share that and get into some common questions here, I want to let you know I have a brand new book coming out called Metabolic Freedom. And chapter 8 of this book is all about using fasting to tap into stored body fat. I show you the science, I show you how to use it the right way. And I also want to give you a free course on the metabolism, which does have lessons on fasting and keto and other fat loss tips, along with exclusive interviews. You can get all that for free when you order the book today over at metabolicfreedombook.com. Go get the free bonuses, go get the pre-order. We'll drop a link down below, or you could scan the QR code on the screen. All right, let's get into the 3-day part of the fast, the 72-hour mark, which something remarkable happens next. Congratulations, by the way, you made it to 72 hours. What's happening here? Real incredible processes are occurring. So at the 72-hour mark of this fast, your body undergoes a full immune system reset. Yeah, you heard that right. You completely regenerate your entire immune system. This is not just theory, by the way. A 2014 study published showed that prolonged fasting cycles can trigger stem cell-based regeneration of the immune system. And in 2018, it found that fasting for 3 days can regenerate the entire immune system. What exactly does that mean? Well, as I mentioned with the autophagy, you have cells in your body that are old, weak, and inflamed, especially in your immune system. These cells, once they lose function, are called zombie cells. In other words, the scientific term is senescent cells, but we'll call them zombie cells. When you have a lot of zombie cells, they actually infect other cells around them, turning them into this zombie status. This leads to autoimmune disease, increase in cancer, heart disease. Essentially, it ages you pretty rapidly. They're called immunosenescent cells. Well, what if there was a way to completely get rid of those zombie cells and produce fresh stem cells? Stem cells in the anti-aging space is all the rave these days. People are spending $20,000, $30,000 on a stem cell treatment, which has amazing validity, but you could actually get a stem cell surge at the 72-hour mark of this fast because your metabolism is so smart. It goes through that autophagy process every hour after the 16 to 17-hour mark. It's ramped up. But if the metabolism and inner physician has determined this cell has no function, it's a zombie cell, it's a senescent cell, there's an amazing thing that happens at the 72-hour mark where it creates programmed cell death, apoptosis. Essentially, check this out, it's like zapping a cell, a zombie cell, and getting rid of it altogether. Stop infecting the body, stop functioning or stop living in the body without function, but then it goes a step farther where it gets rid of the cell and produces a stem cell. And that stem cell could be for your immune system, it could be for the brain, it could be for the heart, for the liver. Your body is so freaking smart, it'll send those stem cells wherever your body needs it. One of the things you might notice at the 72-hour mark of a fast is some pain in your body. Okay, that might sound like a bad thing, but if you've ever had an old injury, like a weak knee or a banged up knee, or for me, for example, lower back issues, you might experience some mild pain in that area during the 72-hour mark. This is your body's way of healing that area. I remember when I first did my 3-day fast, I was getting this lower back pain, and I was wondering, where is this coming from? It was my body's way of healing that area, autophagy, apoptosis, stem cell production. This is super cool. Now, before I address the common questions here, like who should not do this fast, how to build up to the fast, what can you have during a fast, let me know in the comment section for those watching on YouTube, have you ever done a 3-day fast? And if not, are you inspired to do so after watching or listening to this? Let's get to the common questions. This is a very important question right off the bat. How do you build up to a fast like this, a 3-day fast? Well, you got to understand that fasting is a muscle. If you've never even done a 16-hour fast or a 24-hour fast, I don't recommend going right into a 3-day fast without food. It will be too much for your body to adapt to. So start building up the fasting window. Start with 12 hours. If you're so new and brand new to this fasting routine, 12-hour fast. Done eating at 7 p.m., go to bed, eat your first meal at 7 a.m., 12 hours, and kind of build from there. But there's another thing you want to do. You want to get your body fat adapted. Meaning instead of burning sugar, which most people do, and going into a long fast, it's going to be tough.